Hello, everyone. Welcome to an eye-opening discussion about a case that's been making waves in both the legal and entertainment worlds, the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion saga. Today, we're diving deep into the latest developments, the key players, and what this all means for justice and fairness in our legal system. So, grab a seat and let's get into it. In 2022, Tory Lanez, a Canadian rapper whose real name is Daystar Peterson, was convicted of shooting Megan Thee Stallion, born Megan Pete, after an argument following a party in Los Angeles. The incident happened back in July 2020, and Megan testified that Lanez shot her in the feet, shouting, "Dance," as she exited their vehicle. Lanez was found guilty on 3 felony charges: assault with a firearm, illegal possession of a firearm, and negligent discharge, and sentenced to 10 years in prison in August 2023. He's been serving his sentence at the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, but this case is far from over. Fast forward to May 12, 2025, and things took a dramatic turn. Lanez was brutally stabbed 14 times by another inmate, Santino Casio, who's already serving a life sentence for second-degree murder. Lanez suffered serious injuries, including collapsed lungs, but thankfully, he's now in stable condition, recovering in a hospital. This incident has raised serious concerns about prison safety, but more importantly, it's brought renewed attention to Lanez's legal battle. Just 2 days later, on May 14th, Lanez's legal team held a press conference in Los Angeles, claiming they have new evidence that could prove his innocence. They allege that Kelsey Harris, Megan Thee Stallion's former best friend who was in the car that night, was the real shooter. According to a bodyguard named Bradley James, Harris admitted to firing the gun 3 times, with Lanez only intervening by knocking her arm down, causing 2 more shots. This claim aligns with testimony from a neutral witness, Sean Kelly, who said he saw 2 women fighting before the shots were fired. Now, let's talk about the evidence, or lack thereof. Lanez's team points out major flaws in the original investigation. There was a 0.01% chance Lanez's DNA was on the firearm, none on the magazine, and no fingerprints tying him to the weapon. DNA from 4 individuals was found, but Lanez wasn't a primary contributor, and key gunshot residue tests were never performed on others, including Harris. Bodycam footage and medical records also show Megan initially claimed she stepped on glass, with no bullet fragments found in X-rays, and fragments allegedly removed are now missing. This raises serious questions about evidence handling and the integrity of the investigation. Enter Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Florida congresswoman who's taken up Lanez's cause with fervor. She's been vocal about what she calls a miscarriage of justice, urging California Governor Gavin Newsom to issue a pardon. Luna argues that Lanez's 10-year sentence was based on flawed evidence, political pressure, and prosecutorial bias. She's highlighted systemic issues, like the firearm enhancement law used in Lanez's sentencing, which disproportionately affects black defendants at a 92% higher rate. She also points to constitutional violations, such as the use of Lanez's rap lyrics as evidence, which she says infringes on his First Amendment rights, and the lack of proper confrontation of witnesses, violating his Sixth Amendment rights. But not everyone's on board. Megan Thee Stallion's attorney, Alex Spiro, has pushed back hard, insisting that Lanez was fairly tried and convicted by a jury. Spiro calls this a case of violent assault, not a political matter, and says the new claims don't hold water. Megan herself has spoken out, reaffirming that Lanez shot her and expressing frustration over having to relive the trauma. So, what does this all mean? First, Lanez's appeals are still pending with the California Court of Appeals, which has consolidated his direct appeal and habeas petitions. Oral arguments are coming, and this new evidence could play a role, if it's deemed admissible. If it holds up, it might lead to a new trial or even a pardon, but that's a big if. The legal process is slow, and overturning a conviction requires airtight proof. Governor Newsom could theoretically step in, but pardons usually come after all legal avenues are exhausted, which hasn't happened yet. The broader implications are significant. This case highlights deep flaws in our justice system, racial bias in sentencing, mishandling of evidence, and the questionable use of artistic expression as evidence. It also underscores the challenges Black women like Megan face in being believed and supported as victims. For Lainez, the immediate concern is his safety in prison, and for Megan, it's about healing from a traumatic ordeal that keeps resurfacing. For all of us, this case is a reminder to question narratives, dig for the truth, and demand a justice system that's truly fair. Stay curious, folks. This story is far from over,